Turning our attention now to the state of Iowa, where the Sleepover Kidnapping murder case is set to resume at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. This is a case that has made national headlines. This is the defendant. He's a convicted sex offender. His name is Henry Dinkins, and he is the father of the half-brother of the victim in this case, 11-year-old Breasia Terrell. For more on the background of this tragic case, here is Court TV legal correspondent Julia Janae.
For 9 months, Iowa communities searched for missing 10-year-old Breasia Terrell. Her smiling face featured on FBI posters nationwide. The last people to see her alive on July 10th, 2020 were inside this apartment complex that Breasia had only visited one time. Breasia and her 8-year-old little brother were spending the night with her brother's biological father, Henry Dinkins, and Dinkins' girlfriend. The next morning after the sleepover, Dinkins called Breasia's mother and told her her daughter was nowhere to be found.
Friends and total strangers are helping the family of Breasia Terrell search for the missing 10-year-old.
The search for Breasia grabbed headlines. Local station WQAD-8 called her a, quote, budding TikTok entertainer after the child's mother shared with them these videos.
Okay, Mom. Is it pretty now?
Dinkins was placed behind bars on unrelated probation charges. He provided no further details about Breasia's possible whereabouts, even when confronted by the child's mother.
Supposedly, he woke up and Bree was nowhere to be found.
She has been supportive and cooperative with our investigators this entire time. We cannot imagine the grief and pain she must experience.
Then in March of 2021, a tragic discovery by fishing buddies at a pond in a wooded area leads to a break in the case.
We have received confirmation that the remains are those of Breasia Terrell.
The location, a 30-minute drive away from where Breasia had been sleeping, a location investigators believe Henry Dinkins drove to overnight with her body. He's charged with kidnapping and first-degree murder.
With premeditation, malice aforethought, and intent to kill BT, shot her with a firearm, causing her death.
Now, Dinkins' murder trial is going forward, not in front of a jury, but a judge only, after Dinkins, who pleaded not guilty, also waived his right to a jury of his peers.
Wonder what kind of advantage he thinks that will give him. Our thanks to Julia Janae for that report. We're about to find out together, friends, as we watch this trial progress live here on Court TV. I have two great guests in the studio. I want to welcome in now criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Darrell Cohen is with us, and the Deputy Chief of Investigations for the Gwinnett County, Georgia DA's office, Curtis Clemens, with us as well. Welcome to you, Curtis. First time with me on the show. Thank you so much. We were so excited that you were able to join us today. Let's start with the fact that he's going judge rather than going jury, and what advantage this might give him. I'm scratching my head a little bit. Darrell Cohen, help me out, please.
Julie, I consider that a DGQ. What is that?
What is
Darn good question. Because at least when you have a jury, there's perhaps one or two people that you may actually connect with. But the judges cut straight to it. They know what's going on. They've been there, done that, and they just don't even worry about the emotion. They concern themselves with the facts.
Right.
And the facts are not something that this defendant wants to come to light.
Yes, the DGQ. Let's stay on that point. Curtis Clemens, let me go to you on this, because the judge is going to have the rap sheet. An investigator like yourself is going to pull that rap sheet, and this guy's got a bad one, a very bad one. You know, he's a registered sex offender, and the jury wouldn't necessarily know that. That would be something that would be kept out, but the judge does. The judge has the court file, you know, and the judge can open that on up. Henry Dinkins, okay, he's how many years old, and oh, look what he, you know, so the judge knows. So I'm kind of really scratching my head. Were you as well?
I'm scratching my head because I would think you would definitely want a trial by jury, because I would think as you said before, you can have at least one or two people who may not agree, and that is your loophole in order to possibly get acquitted on this particular case. So I think he's taken a huge risk by going just to the judge.
Right. I'm just baffled, you know, and I could see if he's, you know, wanting to just plead and throw himself at the mercy of the court, and but no, I mean, I don't know. Daryl.
Julie, when I prosecuted and now when I defend, if I have an innocent person, I will ask for a bench trial for just the judge. But when I have a guilty person, no way. No way.
Right. There is an expression all of our courties should know, especially our courties. Shout out to all of them in the United Kingdom and in other countries around the globe. They're watching right now, and they get such a kick out of our laws. And there's an expression, Curtis, I know you know it, in the courthouses. And this is not true. It's just an expression we, you know, kid around about. If you're guilty, you go jury. If you're innocent, you go judge. Because the idea is that the judge is going to get it right. You're really rolling the dice with the jury. But that's not true. It's just a, you know, it's just.
What is true? It's absolutely true.
Innocent people do go in front of a jury.
Not if they have the right judge.
You know, I know it's something. I want to play a clip here, and we'll have you both analyze it on the other side. This is from Sergeant Jeffrey Pfeiffer, lead detective on this case with the Davenport, Iowa Police Department, detailing what he knew about little Breasia Terrell as he was arriving on the scene. Take a look.
When you had responded out there, did you have any information about Breasia, you know, as far as information relative to the development of the child, whether or not she had any handicaps, whether or not she had a history of wandering off?
So some of my initial inquiries on my arrival were any sort of disabilities, habits or routines of running away. And what the summary provided to me included that she was half deaf and half blind. To what degrees of that, I'm not sure, and it wasn't able to be articulated to me in any different terms than just that. With respects to running off, I was told by Aisha Langford, the mother of Breasia, that she does not run off. She would not leave an area unfamiliar. It wasn't something that she did even when she was at home in familiar territory. It was not something that she had ever done.
And had you made inquiries about whether or not this was an area that the child had been to or was familiar with?
Yes.
And what information did you have about that?
That she had never spent any time there. They didn't have family there. There was no relation.
You know, this is really, really heartbreaking. And that child, little Breasia, deserves to be protected. And as I look at this case and how tragic it is, I wonder, what can we possibly learn from this? Curtis Clemens, you've had many, many years serving in law enforcement. We thank you for that. And now as the deputy chief at the Gwinnett County DA's office, I want to pick your brain about mom here. We're going to learn more when mom gets on the stand, but we don't know if she knew Henry Dinkins was a sex offender or not. You know, I think it's a safe assumption she knew, but maybe not. We know she had one child with him, little Breasia's brother, and Breasia and her brother were inseparable. And so from what I understand, on the night of this sleepover, mom just happened to run into Henry Dinkins, who's got another girlfriend at the time, and said, you know, I want you to spend more time with your son. You really ought to. You know, they were still no longer romantically involved and really didn't have much contact. And so he invited the son, his biological child, over to his house. But when he went to pick him up, the two other kids there wanted to come along, an older son and then little Breasia. And mom let Breasia go too. And mom also was under the impression that girlfriend is going to be there as well, which she was, but she wasn't much help when she saw her standing outside and didn't do anything in the middle of the night. What can we learn from this, Curtis? What can we learn to do better when it comes to protecting our children from predators?
Well, I tell you, I spent approximately 16 years as a special victims unit investigator, so kids are very close to my heart. And when you have a situation like that, you really need to watch. And I know it sounds sad, but you almost have to do a background check on the people that you leave your children with, because as we see in his case with this poor little girl, anything can happen. And for parents today, they're going to have to be aggressive in meeting the people that their children are with, getting to know the people and some of the background on the people that they may be leaving their children with, even if it's, unfortunately, even if it's teachers are going away, you know, right. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, or whatever. You have to be aware and check on these people that you're placing your loved one in their care and custody and protection. So you really have to do a good background check on the people that you're leaving your children with.
That's great advice, Curtis. And just kind of a follow-up to sort of dovetail off of what you're saying. In your experience, have you found it to be true that most molestation cases occur by someone known to the child, someone that they're familiar with, not a stranger?
Absolutely. And the vast majority of my cases, where these young children are victims, it is someone that the family knows and in many cases trust. And so there's not that natural built-in wall of suspicion when it's somebody that the family trusts or the child is very familiar with. And unfortunately, sometimes, as we see in this case, it is within the family. Right. So we really have to be careful, not only with strangers, or used to be stranger danger. Now you have to look inwards at your own family, and that's sad these days.
It really is, and it's true. Excellent advice. Curtis Clemens, Daryl Cohen, stand by with us, please, as we hit a break. We're going to come back and take a closer look at the prosecution's opening statements against Henry Dinkins. We learned an awful lot in the story that the prosecutor told.